What is going on, full-time family? This Saturday, UFC Rancho is going down February 15th, and it's going to be headlined by Corey Anderson versus Jan Blachowicz in a potential UFC light heavyweight title eliminator. Corey Anderson is on a hot streak right now. And when I say hot, I don't only mean he's on a winning streak. This motherfucker is angry. He's been getting skipped over for the UFC light heavyweight title shots. And you saw even after he knocked Johnny Walker out last fight, he was angry. Usually when you get a potential knockout of the night, you're excited. You're happy. You're ready to go celebrate and call out with the family. Or you're ready to go celebrate, hang out with the family, and call out your next opponent. Not Corey Anderson. He was ready to fight Jon Jones that night. He said, "Get this Johnny Walker motherfucker out of the octagon. Bring Jon Jones in. I want to fight again tonight. I want my fucking title shot y'all have been denying me of." So hopefully Corey Anderson will be able to come in this weekend, stay composed, not get too emotional, not get too emotional, and get this W, because if he gets this win, he will for sure get the next title shot. Actually, you got to now Dominic Reyes, that fight, there could be an immediate rematch. But Corey Anderson should, even with the win here, be able to get the title shot, even if he has to wait for the rematch. You wouldn't think there's anyone else in front of him to fight. So this is a very important fight for Corey Anderson. Jan Blachowicz is looking to come play the spoiler. He's already did it here at 205 pounds. I believe he fought Luke Rockhold in his last fight, or if not, it was his first fight at light heavyweight. And he knocked Luke Rockhold out. Jan Blachowicz, man, his only loss in like his last 6 or 7 fights, I believe, actually I can pull that up, is to Thiago Santos, who's also up at light heavyweight now. But Jan Blachowicz, man, he's dangerous. He's coming off of a win over Jacare. It was a split decision win. And before that, he knocked out Luke Rockhold. So he's been beating some legends, man. He's definitely been beating some very skilled fighters. So for that reason, Corey Anderson does have to be careful. Corey Anderson's been knocked out. Jan Blachowicz has knocked people out. Can't get caught in this fight. I'm really looking forward to this main event. I'm going to be going with Corey Anderson. Next, we got the co-main event, Diego Sanchez versus Michael Pereira. Michael Pereira's got about the same amount of fights as Diego Sanchez, surprisingly, because Diego Sanchez is such a vet. Diego Sanchez, I believe, was 38 years old, fought on Tough 1, and Michael Pereira is only 26 years old, but he's already got 33 pro fights compared to Diego Sanchez's 42. So, I mean, they're in the same realm, even though he's 12 years younger. So, this guy's definitely experienced. If I'm not mistaken, this is the motherfucker that was doing backflips in the octagon last fight. Yeah. Who was he fighting? Like, he did a backflip and ended up losing. Tristan Connolly, is that who beat him? Michael Pereira, he's definitely a young firecracker. He's got a lot of experience. He's already beat Danny Roberts in the UFC, who's a good fighter. Danny Hot Chocolate's Robert. It was a flying knee and a punch, so it was early in the first round. He still got a little bit to prove in the UFC, but I do believe Michael Pereira will be able to come in and get it done, even though Diego Sanchez, man, you can never count him out. He's got wins over, I didn't expect him to beat Mickey Gall, honestly, and he knocked Mickey Gall out ground and pound, I believe, in the second round. He is coming off a loss to Michael Chiesa, though, and he had a grappling match with Jake Ellenberger in Submission Underground. But Diego Sanchez is still active, and you never know what coaches he's got in his corner, so he could have some new tricks up his sleeve. I'm going to take Michael Pereira in the co-main event, though. Next, we got Daquan Townsend versus Devin Clark. I'm definitely going with Devin Clark in this one. Trains out of Jackson Wink with Jon Jones and the boys. Daquan Townsend's lost his first 2 UFC fights, and before that, he wasn't really fighting the most skilled guys in the world outside of the UFC. He's definitely got heart if you've watched his 2 fights in the UFC. He's been in fights I didn't expect him to be in. He wasn't fighting the best guys in the UFC, of course, which Devin Clark actually is. He's not like a top 10, top 15 guy, but he's definitely been training with the best in the world, and he's got a lot of UFC experience. He's beat some good guys in the UFC. So it's just levels to this in this fight. Daquan might have a puncher's chance, but honestly, I'm just going Devin Clark in this fight. Daquan does have heart, man. His last 2 fights have been entertaining, and he's fucked around and almost got that knockout. So he's right in there, but if he loses this one, it might be on the way out of the UFC. I'm taking Devin Clark. Montana De La Rosa is going to be fighting next, and she's going to be taking on Mario Barella. Maria Barella, what's her name? What's her first name? Yeah, Mara Barella, not Maria. Montana De La Rosa versus Maria Romero Barella out of Italy. They're going to be scrapping. I like Montana De La Rosa to win this fight. This is going to be, I think, probably pretty closely contested. I like Montana De La Rosa's grappling definitely better in this fight. And she's really only lost to killers in her career. She's coming off a loss to Andrea Lee. She lost on tough to Nico Montana, who ultimately won and became the flyweight champion. And then before the UFC, she only lost to Mackenzie Dern and Cynthia Calvillo. So, of course, except for her very first two professional fights. But I mean, if you look at her resume, she's beaten some girls in the UFC: Nadia Kassim, Rachel Ostovich, Christina Marks. Of course, not the best fighters in the world, but still UFC caliber competition. And she's really only lost to established women's MMA fighters. So she's definitely skilled, Montana De La Rosa. Her husband, of course, also trains MMA. They've got a really good fight team over there. Their daughter is already training MMA. She's like fucking 10, 12 years. I don't know how old she is. I know they had her young, and she's already training MMA because she's got two young parents who both train MMA. That girl might be the future. So Montana De La Rosa, Mama De La Rosa, coming to put in some work against Mara Borella, who is coming off a loss to Lauren Murphy. She's lost to Caitlin Chukagian, who just fought Valentina Shevchenko over the title, also in two of her last three fights. But she does have wins against Kalindra Faria and Talia Santos. So Mara Barella trains out of American Top Team. She's very skilled. This girl could easily, I mean, this is a very even matchup. I'm kind of rooting for Montana De La Rosa because I kind of root for the family kind of thing. I mean, I'm kind of fans of it. But at the same time, Mara is the real deal. She trains out of American Top Team. I mean, enough said. I don't even have to go into how they're the probably, I mean, aside from AKA, they're definitely the top two fight teams on the planet. American Top Team and AKA. So she trains out of ATT, trains with the best athletes, with the best female fighters on the planet. Amanda Nunes over there, Joanna Jacek over there, Kayla Harrison over there. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat a girl from American Top Team. It really is. Barella's got a great chance of winning this fight. I don't even know what the fuck I was smoking when I made my prediction. I might have to switch it back because even though Montana De La Rosa's only lost to some of the best fighters in women's MMA, one of some of the most established, Barella is training with those girls every single day, championship caliber opponents, you know? But I mean, yeah, this is a tough one to pick right here. This one's almost a heads up, so I think I'm actually about to change my pick. I got to go with the American Top Team fighter. It's so hard to go with, you know what I'm saying? Anybody that's not from American Top Team. Montana De La Rosa, she is a good fighter, but she's not training with American Top Team. She's not training with AKA, and I do think that's what it takes to take yourself to the next level. And so, with that being said, actually, I don't even think I can. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm changing it. And then next, of course, we got Brock Weaver taking on Vargas, who's new to the UFC. Brock Weaver is fucking off Dana White's Contender Series, but I even knew him before that. I didn't know him personally, but I saw his fight with Felony Charles Bennett, and that's where I actually first encountered Brock Weaver. I think they fought at Island Fights in Pensacola, Florida. It was like right after one of the times I'd interviewed Felony Charles Bennett, and so I had my eye on that fight actually. And so that's when I was first introduced to Brock Weaver. Then he came up through the Contender Series and he impressed Dana White. Well, after that he had a not only did he impress Dana White and everyone else in the fight, but he also impressed on the mic. I mean, this kid just seemed to have it all. So then he came to fight his UFC debut, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a fight of the night. I'm changing my prediction here on the picture, so give me 1 second. But if I'm not mistaken, Brock Weaver did have that fight of the night in his UFC debut, which just left us honestly wanting more. Because I know ever since his first fight, I've been just waiting and waiting for Brock Weaver to get back in the octagon. He had a fight scheduled, and I think his opponent fell out of it, or he was injured, one of them. So the fight was postponed, but now he's back, man. So you can see now I've changed my pick to Barella. That's a toss-up for me. I like Montana De La Rosa in the family, but Barella's training with American Top Team. I do know they're working to legalize Italy and MMA, and she definitely could be one of those prospects that Italy gets behind. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely see that as well. Training with the best fighters in the world is only going to make you better. So even if she lost her last fight, it was against a tough opponent. I mean, she hasn't been fighting cans by any means. When she lost to Caitlin Chukagian, which was 3 fights ago, it was a decision. Then she fought Talia Santos, who was 15-0. She beat Talia Santos by split decision. Then she fought Lauren Murphy. She got finished by Lauren Murphy in the 3rd round by knees and punches, but Lauren Murphy's tough. We just seen her, you know, pick up a win that we didn't expect her to get against Andrea Lee. And Andrea Lee's a really talented fighter. So Montana De La Rosa can win this fight. Barella can win this fight. Uh, man, that's why I picked Montana De La Rosa. Now that I look at it, I picked her because she, what's her name got finished by Lauren Murphy, and so I was like, okay, I'm definitely taking Montana De La Rosa. But fuck it, man, we already talked about that fight. It's a toss up. May the best woman win. Back to Brock Weaver. My man Brock Weaver right now is currently 14-4 as a professional fighter. He's going to be taking on Rodrigo Vargas, a Mexican fighter who I believe is making his UFC debut. Yes, he is. Actually, he lost his UFC debut to Alex Da Silva, so this is his 2nd fight in the UFC. Fighting out of the Mexican Pride Gym, he beat Mike De La Torre 1st round head kick in Combate before coming over to the UFC. So he was actually doing pretty decent on the combate scene over there before coming to the UFC. Now he is coming off into his 2nd UFC fight, losing to 20-2 Alex Da Silva in his 1st fight, and he's going to be taking on Brock Weaver. Brock Weaver beat Devin Smith in his Contender Series fight, and he was supposed to have his UFC debut against Thomas Gifford. That's the bout that was canceled. But his fight with Devin Smith and everything else is what put him on our radar. And so this is going to be a good fight for Brock Weaver. It's actually going to be his UFC debut, not counting the Devin Smith fight, versus Rodrigo, who's been fighting decent competition. This is one of those, I think, potential fight of the nights right here, because both of these guys have a lot to prove in this fight. We know Brock Weaver's style. I really could see this being a potential fight of the night right here. So I'm really looking forward to Brock Weaver versus Rodrigo Vargas. And then, oh God, when you want to talk about potential fight of the night, Yancy Medeiros versus Lando Venata? What? What the? That is fucking fireworks. That could be knockout of the night. That could be fight of the night. This motherfucker could be fight of the year. What are you talking about? Both of these guys have been in potential fight of the year candidates before. Yancy Medeiros, whenever he fought Cowboy Oliveira, that was a fight of the year. He got the 3rd round knockout. Potential fight of the year. Of course, they don't got the biggest name, so it got outshined. But if you go back and watch Yancy Medeiros versus Cowboy Oliveira, what? That was a badass fight. Then you got Lando Venata, his fucking fight with Tony Ferguson. I believe his fight with Drakkar Klose. I mean, he's had a few wars that he's always entertaining. I mean, he throws really fun attacks. He trains out of Jackson Wink. He had Tony Ferguson rocked. I still remember in that fight, but of course Tony Ferguson, being the fucking legend he is, was able to come back and get the dub. But Groovy Lando Venata, man, is a very talented fighter, and this is gonna be a banger. Lando Venata, Groovy Lando versus the kid Yancy Medeiros. That's one you have to tune in for. So this whole card is stacked, honestly. I just read off some of the names on the undercard. You got Mark De La Rosa, so Montana De La Rosa's husband's also fighting. Damn, that makes me damn near want to switch my pick. You know what, guys? I'm not going to second guess myself. All right? We're going back. We're going back. I picked Montana De La Rosa for a reason, man. Oh, that's so tough. That's so tough. That is a tough fight to call. Oh, man. That means we just got to... I don't know who to pick. It's a really good... I think Montana's got better wrestling. But Barella's just going to get better and better and better training at American Top Team. I don't know if there's been enough time in between Barella's last fight, though. She just got finished by Lauren Murphy like 4 months ago. Ooh, that's a tough fight to call, man, but that's a tough one to call. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with Barella. I don't know. That's a 50-50, man. That's a 50-50. We got Mark De La Rosa taking on Rulian Paiva on the card. Shayna Young versus Macy Chiasson. What? Macy was supposed to be fighting that girl that was coming up from 125. What the hell happened? On the UFC.com, they've got Macy Chiasson versus Nico Montano. Nico Montano had to pull out of the fight of fucking course. What? Ducking that motherfucking fade from Macy Chiasson. You know Nico is fucking ducking, dog. We had this issue with Valentina Shevchenko. Now she wants to move up to 135. Is this supposed to be at 140? No, this was at bantamweight. Macy's coming down to 135. Shayna's coming up from flyweight now because Nico's ducking it because this fight was for Nico. Oh my, wow, I didn't even notice that. Nico ducking on the motherfucking undercard, dog. Casey Kinney versus Merab Davishvili. That's a fucking banger. Huge fan of Merab Davishvili. That motherfucker's a savage. Casey Kinney's a really good fighter too, I believe, fighting out of Team Elevation. That's a great fight. Devin Clark, Daquan Townsend, we've already talked about that. Scott Holtzman versus Jim Miller. Hot Sauce Holtzman? Fuck you talking about? That's a great fight. John Dodson versus Nathaniel Wood. What? That's a fucking great fight. I'm a fan of John Dodson. Even though he's had a couple boring performances in his last ones, he definitely upset me in his last fight. Motherfucker let off the gas when he should have. Man, it was very upsetting. I remember as a John Dodson fan, his last fight let me down. Hopefully he'll pick it back up in this one. Tim Means versus Daniel Rodriguez. Let's fucking go. We got a good fight card, guys. I don't think there's one bad fight on this fight card. So we'll definitely be tuning in, doing a live fight companion this weekend, this Saturday, February 15th. Make sure you tune in. With that being said, man, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know who you got in the comments. I'm out.